What's up? What's up? Welcome, good people. Welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera show, where we try to talk about basketball and pretty much everything as as possible. You know what I'm saying? Now, before we get into it, we have no sponsors to thank, so we can get right into it. um, it was a wild night of basketball. Not really. We saw Boston dominate. We saw Boston dominate Miami, but who is their best player? And we saw a lopsided Dallas versus Clippers game. But what's gonna happen to them moving forward? And we look forward to tonight's game with the Knicks in another elimination game and another elimination game with Milwaukee and Indiana. But before we get into those, we get into some other topics. Let's see this. Game with the boom, bada bing, bada boom. Right there. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. I like that. But like I said, before we get into those games, let's get into these two other topics that came across the timeline. You know what I'm saying? But where did this music go? Oh, that's hella loud. Yes, sir. Yes, sirski. All right, bang. All right, I like that. So first, I think we got to kind of touch on this is Caitlin Clark wearing her teammates' chains. You peep this? Y'all see what's going on? They done got this girl out of Iowa. They, look. look.
I'm sweating.
What? They done got her out of Iowa, man. Hey, listen. I think it's great. A lot of that shit about the other women in the WNBA not taking her in is a lot of hearsay, a lot of he say, she say. At the end of the day, a rising tide raises all boats. And I think everyone involved, if they don't already, they should start understanding that. And you know, hopefully they do big things. She's probably going to get a bunch of televised games, meaning her teammates are going to get some shine. So it really is a win-win for everyone. And, you know, it was really cool to see. In other news, look at this fool, man. Ryan Garcia tested positive for PED before upset win in fight versus Devin Haney. Right? According to Mike Copinger, Ryan Garcia tested positive for the PED Osterine the day before and the day of his upset win over Devin Haney, per a VADA letter obtained by ESPN. Garcia has 10 days to request his B sample be tested. A sample also screened positive for 19 norandrosterone, but unconfirmed. Listen, I don't know what the fuck any of that shit means. And
what's up, everybody?
look,
I came on here to address this bull fucking shit claim that I cheated. Everybody knows that I don't cheat. What can I say? You know, why didn't they come out with this before
Facts.
The fight if they found it before? Why would they let him step into the ring as a cheater and then come out with the victory and then they post this?
Facts. Look.
Again,
this guy. This guy is a very trusting human being, bro. This guy is a very trusting human being.
Prosper. I never taken steroid. I don't even know where to get steroids.
And then where is man? Where is Devin Haney responds? Right, so he responded, bro. Let's see. He's saying that this is from Devin Haney. This statement from Devin Haney said, "We learned about the situation not too long ago, and it's unfortunate Ryan cheated and disrespected both the fans in the sport of boxing by fighting dirty and breaking positive not once but twice. I've always been an advocate for clean fighting, and this is an example of such. Ryan owes the fans an apology, and by his recent tweets, he still thinks this is a joke. We put our lives on the line to entertain people for a living. You don't play boxing. This puts the fight in a completely different light. Despite the disadvantage, I still fought on my shield and got back up. People die in this sport." So they counted 3 knockdowns, but he really knocked you down like 4 or 5 times. So you take down 1, 2 knockdown, you still got knocked down 3 times, bro. And cause listen, they're gonna keep saying Osterine this, Osterine that, thinking motherfuckers ain't gonna look it up. Where is this? Let me find this. All right, so he tested positive for Osterine, right? So you could Google this, right? So Osterine is used to aid performance by helping athletes build muscle mass and enhance their rate of fat loss, and also increase stamina and recovery ability. It activates the androgen receptor in a similar fashion to anabolic steroids, but I was also reading that it don't have the same side effects. So first of all, if you ever read some shit that have a bunch of pros and no cons, that's what that sound like. It's a bunch of pros and no cons. And it's supposed to enhance the rate of fat loss. So he should get his money back. The motherfucker came in overweight. He came in 3.5 pounds overweight. So he should really go get his money back. It didn't work. If that's what he used, it didn't work. It didn't work all the way. You know what I'm saying? It didn't work all the way. But we'll see what happens with that. He didn't win a belt anyway. They were talking about a rematch, so maybe they'll do a rematch, or maybe they won't. Who knows? But moving on, listen, I was wrong as hell about yesterday's game. Actually, scratch that. I was right, because I said the trend had been nights have been alternating, right? So one night you'll have a bunch of good games, next night you'll have a bunch of bad games. And I said, because the games were so good, 2 nights ago, that last night there was no way that the game was gonna be that good. And I ended up being right. I said both games would be a blowout. I said Boston would blow out Miami. And unfortunately, I said the Clippers would blow out the Mavericks. And boy, was I wrong. So yeah, Boston dominates Miami, and they really cruised to a victory. They got scoring from Jaylen Brown, who really was able to dominate, under the 3-point line. He had 25 points, 2 assists with 6 rebounds, went 11 of 19 from the field, shot 57.9%, 1 of 7 from 3 for 14.3%. And then Derek White had another good game. 25 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, 80%, 5 of 10 from 3 for 50%, 8 of 13 from the field for 61.5%. And they were just, sprinkled in another 16 from Tatum, 17 from Sam Hauser, and they were just getting scoring all around. And Tatum was really doing some damage, like I said, from below the paint, which was a really good sign. And Miami was just undermanned. They just didn't have enough. Adebayo with another 23-point game, but he only had 5 rebounds, and they just didn't have enough talent, man. I think even if Butler had played, they still probably would have lost, and they still would have really struggled trying to take on the Boston Celtics. But after watching that whole series, some people are asking, who is the best player? And Derek White has had some really good breakout games, and Jaylen Brown has also gotten loose on a couple of games. I think he had 33 another game, 25 this game, 20-something another game. And so, between them two, they've really been able to take the reins, right? And I'll say this about Tatum. I don't think he's playing bad at all. I think some folks that are saying he's playing bad or that he's getting carried are kind of overstating that, right? Tatum has played good basketball. He just hasn't shot very well, right? Let me see this. Where the fuck did I find this shit at? Alright. Yeah, so Boston was just able to move the ball, and really they were already up 41-23, and the lead just kept going. I was seeing some people say, I saw a meme of it was someone getting carried by 2 people, and they said that was Tatum in this first round series. And granted, Derek White has been able to score the ball and hit threes. Jaylen Brown has found a way to get his points as well. And like I said, Tatum hasn't shot the ball well, but for the series, he did lead the series in rebounds with 10.4 and in assists in 5.4. The other part that I had noticed was he still got to the free throw line a good amount of times every game. Which for the critique that I've given him, being a jump shooting team, and him in particular, there are some plays where I saw him in the left corner. I saw him fake the guy, instead of driving, step back and shot a 3, and it was just like, bro, you could have just driven. You like 6'10". And I just wish he got more paint points. And which game was it? For the series, Tatum had shot 41.5% from the field, 32 of 77. 9 of 33 from the 3-point line, only 29%. So 40% of his shots were coming from the 3-point line, right? The one game where he was able to get going offensively was game 2. And in that game, he was 10 for 20, but he only took 6 threes. He went 2 of 6 from 3. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. No, sorry. Yes, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. And moving forward, he can't have such poor shooting nights, and get away with it in the Eastern Conference Finals and in the NBA Finals. He's going to have to get going. And if him not being anywhere near the MVP ballot is an indication of how people feel about him, then him continuing to be quote unquote carried, even though, like I said, he's doing other things on the court. He's getting assists and setting everyone up. They do have a good team. They have 3 guys that scored over 20 points a game in this series, right? Tatum, Brown, and White were all scoring over 20 points a game this series. So I understand that he's trying to let the team flourish. But what happens in a situation where, let's say Boston goes to the finals and wins a championship, and Tatum plays well, but let's say Derek White or Jaylen Brown gets the finals MVP? Kind of like similar to that Golden State Warriors series. Not to say that Steph got robbed, even though, I think he got robbed, and, Iguodala played a big role, but Steph played well. But what if that happens in this situation? How are people going to look at Tatum? People already, they don't even talk about him in MVP awards. No one really talks about him in the best player category. And something like that could bump him down, in the perspective of the masses, to the people, the fans. Even though people watching the game know he's really key to this team and he's still their best player. But that's something that's something interesting to look at moving forward. The game where half of his shots didn't come from the 3-point line, he was actually able to get going. But like I said, even in the games where he struggled, he's managed to get to the free throw line. So he's really shown that his game has matured. And, they dominated the series. They had a little hiccup in that one game, but they dominated the series, and they're moving on. Moving on to the Clippers Mavericks. People are wondering now, are the Clippers done for? After last night's game, I don't know, maybe there's something to that, right? So the Mavericks won last night 123-93. And Luka Doncic finally had himself a game. He had 35 points, 1 steal, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, went 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 2 of 8 from 3, 14 of 26 from the field. And, Maxi Kleber had added some shots, but they had really put this game away really after 3 quarters. And when you look at the Clippers all around, no one had a very good game. You had 15 from Paul George, 15 from Zubac, 11 from Mann. Harden only had 7. Westbrook only had 6. And 93 points is just not a lot of points between all of those Hall of Famers that you have on your team, right? Let's take a look at how this kind of turned out. I wonder if they'll show it in this, but I thought it was really interesting because going into the series, I feel like Luka don't like those guys. He don't like the Clippers, or he don't like those players. And he was just yapping at them. He was just yapping at those guys, man, the whole time. And I think people aren't talking enough about, this is really the original version versus the newer version, right? Luka Doncic is the new version of James Harden, right? He baits fouls. He gets to the same step back. He has the Euro step. They're both not super fast. They're both strong and have size at their position. And they have this hybrid where they can go get a bunch of assists. They also grab rebounds. So we're really seeing James Harden and, his copy. You know what I'm saying? And but neither of them play defense. There's just, the similarities are uncanny, right? And the Clippers tried to keep it close early. I thought that maybe Harden would be a little bit more aggressive. He ended the first quarter with 4 shots. I thought maybe he would try to get in the paint more, try to get some free throws, and really put some pressure on this team. Oh, look at that pass. And Paul George was also just really quiet through the first half, man. And, they kept talking on the broadcast about Luka really attacking this team in the fast break. And I thought that was true. He wasn't really playing with the ball that much. He was just getting downhill and getting to the paint. Similar to what I was just talking about with Tatum, when he limits some of those threes, because let's be honest, when he's taking threes, they're not wide open threes. They're not coming off pin downs, flares. It's coming off of step backs, right? So if you're taking 10, 11, 12, 13 threes, and 8 of them are step backs, you're probably not going to shoot a great percentage unless you're just really on that night. And he was finally able to get going. He only took, let me see here. He only took 8 threes and he took 26 shots. So that's really good, you know what I'm saying? And he was able to get to the paint, create plays for other guys. And that's how they were able to spread the scoring around. I did find this interesting. So let me skip ahead to it. So at the end of the first half, Dallas was up 10, right? It's still manageable. The series is tied 2-2 when you're home, right? If you lose this game, you go into Dallas in a closeout series where they're up 3-2. You would think that it would be time for your best players to just stay in the game. This is one of those situations where your best guys stay in the whole second half, right? Paul George ended up playing the whole third quarter, but Harden, what did he play? He played like 5:39. Let me see here. He played like 5:20. See the third quarter. He played 5:39 in the third quarter. You're down 10. And listen, I know he hasn't had a great game. I know he's not shooting well. But who else do you have? You have to play your best players. I don't know if something happened, but for whatever reason, he only played 5 minutes. Paul George played 12. He was finally able to get some shots. I think he went 2 of 4, 2 threes. And you just kind of wonder, did they throw in the towel early? Because the third quarter is a key quarter in this. They're down 10, and instead of cutting into that lead, they go into the fourth down 20, and the game was pretty much over. They took all of their guys out at the 7-minute mark. So you have to think, is there any turmoil going on in the locker room, or is there something going on? Why did Tyronn Lue pull him so early? And it's just, look at this. Dallas was just winning all of these 50-50 plays, man. Oh, by the way, Kyrie in his spurts has been so incredible. He'll always, every game, he'll have a couple of possessions, 3-4 possessions straight where he'll get buckets, assists, just doing really great stuff to win a game. Letting Luka dribble the ball motherfucking 400 times, So Kyrie really chooses his spots really well. But, they're doing all this. They're down 78-54 with 3 minutes in the third, and there is no James Harden on the floor, man. It's just nowhere to be found. And I've been complaining about this guy being in the corner. Why he not lower? But they have their system and what they're doing. I think they got a lot of questions about this team moving forward. I know they have contracts that they have to deal with. Harden has played. He's probably been their best player and most consistent player. With Kawhi being hurt and being out, I think they would have to really take a look at what that situation is. And, going into their new arena, they might have to make some changes to shake things up, because right now, it's just not working. Man, it was a quick night of games last night. Thank God. These 3 games, you can't even watch Cleveland and Orlando because there be good games on, man. But looking ahead to tonight's games, we have a potential closeout for the New York Knicks. Right? They're up 3-2. They're up 3-2. Going into Philly, right? And let's see. And this is the news, man. This is big. This is big news, because I think it says something. Look at this, man. So going into this game 6, the Philadelphia 76ers ownership group has bought they said over 2,000 tickets ahead of game 6 to prevent the Knicks crowd, because they know it's about to be rowdy up in there. They knew it. So for me, I'm saying for the Knicks, they're already playing defense. They're already playing defense, man. They're already playing defense. But the truth is, the Knicks have to win this game. The Knicks have to win this game. And here's why. Here's why. It's obvious that whenever Joel Embiid is on the floor, that the Knicks have struggled, right? So I took a look at it. I took a look at how bad that was, because initially I thought it was just a quarter thing. I thought it was like a first and a second quarter thing. And so they played 5 games, right? That's 21 quarters, including overtime. They've played 21 quarters, including overtime in this series, right? Out of those 21 quarters, in 9 of the quarters, Embiid has played 10 minutes and 39 seconds or more. They won those 9 quarters, right? In those 9 quarters, they have beaten the Knicks 272 to 198. Let me repeat that one more time. Out of the 21 quarters that they have played, including overtime in this series, in 9 of those quarters, Embiid had played at least 10 minutes and 39 seconds, and they won those quarters, right? In total, between those 9 quarters, Philadelphia, with Embiid playing over 10 minutes and 39 seconds on the floor, they have been beating the Knicks 272 to 198. That is 74 points. There's only been 3 quarters in this series where Embiid had played 12 minutes where the Knicks have won. Right? It's just... It's tough, man. It is tough because... Listen... The Knicks have won 11 out of the 21 quarters. Right? They've won 11 out of the 21 quarters. They have won, but the margin isn't the same. In those quarters, they have beaten Philly 255 to 218. That's why all of these games are so close, right? And that's why it feels like Philly could be winning or should be winning. Because whenever Embiid is on the floor, there's such a big gap. That's when you get the 30 to 17, 31 to 18. That's when you get those quarters from them. And the quarters where the Knicks have won, the 3 quarters, I believe 2 of them had been in the later quarters. So, when Embiid is tired, even though he's playing 12 minutes, right? And in those quarters, the Knicks have won 79 to 71. So even when the Knicks are winning, they're barely winning. That's why it is important for the New York Knicks to win this Game 6 in Philadelphia and close the series out. Because Joel Embiid is proving that with or without the MVP award this year, at 60%, that he's still the best player in basketball. I get Jokic, I get everyone else, but Joel Embiid in this series, to me, has proven that he is the best player in basketball. He dictates so much of their offense, and I think he prevents a lot on defense just by being there. And kind of like Jokic, he knows when to run certain plays over and over again, whether it's to get him a shot or, more importantly, in the last couple games, to get Maxey a shot. And the Knicks can't overplay Maxey and then leave Embiid because he's shown that he can still hit those jumpers. And that's what makes it tough. So tonight's game is going to be about what happens in those quarters where Embiid is sitting. Can the Knicks really take a lead? Because when Embiid is sitting, Philadelphia has to now run more pick and roll action. More guys have to touch the ball. Other guys are getting more shots. And in that, the Knicks are able to scramble and force turnovers and get out on the break and get some shots off and get extra possessions in that way. And that's how they've been able to get some of those leads, those 14-5 spurts, right? That's how they've been able to get some of those, is when Embiid is on the floor, Brunson starts to get going and his jump shot starts going in and it carries over. But the Knicks have to be careful and they really need to turn up tonight. I don't know if some of those, They said that they're giving the tickets to frontline workers. But what if those people are Knicks fans? I'm just saying. What if they're Knicks fans? What if we have some people sneak in there? Right? Somebody, like how the Lakers took somebody steal Embiid's D brace. Like how the Lakers, I guess they're fit, but you gotta do something, man, because talk about barbecue chicken. Joel Embiid has been barbecue chicken, and just his presence on the floor, like I said, he's just been unstoppable. The East is lucky that he's hurt, because this shit would go totally different if he wasn't hurt. This shit would go totally different, and I say that as a Knicks fan. This shit would go totally different if Joel Embiid was healthy. The way that he's been playing, it's man, it would be really, really tough, man. It would be really tough, and even at injured, like I said, the numbers that they've been able to put up, it's crazy. It's crazy. But moving on to the other series going on tonight is the Milwaukee-Indiana series, which I called the what the fuck series, because I don't even know what's happening in that series, right? I think, well, I was reading that Doc Rivers was saying that Doc and Lillard are very close to playing. He said according to Jamal Collier, Doc Rivers on the potential timeline for Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard for Game 6. I think they're very, very, very close. Like, bro, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? And if we're to believe what some of these former athletes are saying about the low calf strain, similar to what Kevin Durant was, which ended up being an Achilles. And then when it comes to Lillard, they keep saying Achilles. I think it's in their best interest to just sit these guys. And on top of that, they might not even need them. Because when you look at the last two games, I think Indiana got a little bit of fool's gold, man. I think they got some fool's gold. Because let me take a look at this right here. So they won game 4, right? Or no, they won game 5, sorry. They won game 4 and then lost game 5. So yeah, it's game 6 right now, right? And that was the game Miles Turner had. He was hitting a bunch of threes. That game, right? Yeah, he was hitting a bunch of threes. And so let me see. What the fuck? Why is this? Where's this game 5, bro? Right, but so anyway, so if you look at their series, the game that they had won 126-113, they got, look at this, they got 29 points because Miles Turner went 7 of 9 from the 3-point line, right? Which is great. But I say it's fool's gold because you had 29 from him, 24 from Halliburton, And then you got 13 from Nesmith, 13 from Siakam, 15 from Nembhard, and 13 from Toppin. So you were getting scoring from, a bunch of guys, but Miles Turner was kind of the outlier in hitting those threes, and they only won by 13 points, right? In that game, though, Chris Middleton continued to have a good game. He had 25, shot 9 of 22, which wasn't great. But he was getting he got to the free throw line 8 times, had 10 rebounds again. Brook Lopez was finally scoring from below the 3-point line. He had 27, 12 of 18 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. Finally got 9 rebounds. Still hasn't crossed 10, I don't think. And then Malik Beasley shot well in that game as well, too. But I don't know, some people forget, Bobby Portis got ejected early in that game. He only played 6 minutes and 59 seconds. And he was supposed to be that next man up. He was supposed to be the next guy up to pull up and carry some of that scoring, right? Which he ended up doing in their previous game, which was the game 5, where they won 115-92. Right? And in game 5, you got no scoring from any of the Pacers. Halliburton is your all-star. 16-6 just isn't going to get it done in a closeout game. We'll get back to him. But when we look at the Bucks, Middleton had 29, Portis had 29. They literally made up the 60 points they were missing with Giannis and Dame out. And then you got more shooting from Beasley. Lopez added another 12. Here's the thing moving forward. Like I said, the Pacers are relying on their 3-point shooting. And the Bucks in the last 2 games have not. They've found ways to score in the mid-range and in the paint, which is a really good sign moving forward, because that's something that you can repeat. Threes are going to go in, they're going to go out. You're going to have good games, you're going to have bad games. And trying to rely on that consistently is going to be tough. Chris Middleton has shown that he can win the Pascal Siakam matchup, right? Because for the series, Siakam is averaging 23, 9.2 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. And Middleton has been averaging 26.8, 9.4 rebounds, and 5 assists. In Game 5, Portis had 29-10, 1 assist, 1 steal. And then in Game 4, Lopez had 29, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. And the other person that was consistent in those 2 games too was Beasley. He was able to get shots off and hit threes because those guys were getting shots below the 3-point line. To me, that seems like a strategy that they can repeat again. If Pascal Siakam isn't going to get into the paint and get close shots and get guys in foul trouble and disrupt what these guys are doing, you're left to depend on whether Miles Turner is hitting shots. And we got to have a serious question about Halliburton. I get that he's been injured, and maybe that'll be the asterisk in this, right? But there is going to be some serious questions moving forward on whether he's an all-star, he's a superstar talent or not. Because he just hasn't shown it in this, right? He hasn't shown it. And he needed to be the guy, when you have Chris Middleton playing the way he's been playing, and you have either a Lopez or a Portis that can really go in and try to get the job done as your second guy. If Siakam's going to have a good game, Halliburton needs to be able to offset that second guy. And now it's up to the third. Who's third string player, not third string, whose third scorer, third option is going to get that job done, right? And the Bucks have shown that they have a potential third option in Beasley. Portis and Lopez can kind of split that responsibility, and Patrick Beverley has showed up to play. So maybe we've been wrong about this series. And maybe we've been wrong about Indiana. Maybe that's fool's gold, man. Maybe that yellow on their thing is fool's gold. Maybe the real gold is on the WNBA side with Clayton Clark. Maybe that's fool's gold on the men's side, man. But, you know, we'll see what happens tonight. I'm real hopeful. I'm real hopeful. But we will see what happens moving forward. But, you know, like I said, that'll be it from me today. It's been another good episode. Thank you guys for checking it out and watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys can, please like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully the Knicks win tonight, because my God, I can't do this shit no more, man. I cannot do this shit no more. But I'll see you guys later. Peace.